Good morning. Good to be in Hardee County. Hope everyone's doing well. We got one presentation, one bill signing, so I think it's going to be a really exciting day. And I'm glad to be back. No governor's been to Hardee County more than me, so just so you know. We are joined by the Commissioner of Agriculture, Wilton Simpson. We are joined by Dale Carlton, President-elect, Florida Cattlemen's Association, Pat Durden, President, Florida Cattlemen's Association, Chair Renee Wyatt from Hardee County Board of County Commissioners, Senator Jay Collins, Florida's 14th Senate District, and then Denise Grimsley, Executive Director, Hardee County Economic Development Council. So we're excited to be here, and the first thing we're going to do is make an award about economic development in Hardee County. We have various opportunities in state government, including a fund that I have as governor to distribute called the Job Growth Grant Fund. And what we do with that is we focus on infrastructure, we focus on workforce development, and that really, those two make a big difference. And so when we have worthy projects, folks can ask us from counties, from municipalities, whatever, to help out with something. And so folks in Hardee County had asked us to provide some financial assistance to help develop an industrial site here. It'll be a 40,000 square foot warehouse. And the goal is to incentivize growth, bring in new companies, including those in the industries we're going to talk about here today. It'll also provide additional space for current businesses that are located at the site. We anticipate 200 new jobs and potentially more beyond that. So this is something that we evaluate. And we get these things from all over the state. And people will ask for this, people will ask for that. And we're looking for return on investment. This isn't just handing out charity checks. If we're going to put money, we want to see a return on the investment. So I'm proud to say that this request from Hardee County is one that we have approved. And so we are going to be able to award this, I have the check right here, 6 million smackers to Hardee County for industrial development. Where you guys want to come up and get this check? So we'll do a presentation right here. So come on up. All right, good deal. Yep. So we're excited about that. And, we've done, if you look at how we've done our awards, my administration has done more for infrastructure in rural communities than any administration in modern Florida history, not just through the Job Growth Grant Fund, but we also have robust funding for our Rural Infrastructure Fund. And I know when he was a senator, Senator Simpson was involved with that. But, we've done tens of millions of dollars through that. And it just shows that we really have an appreciation for what our rural communities are doing. And I think you also look to see, what have we done to support the agriculture industry in Florida? Well, one, I signed legislation modernizing Florida's Right to Farm Act. We want to make sure that we're protecting agriculture activities from frivolous litigation. We've also signed legislation championed by then Senator Simpson to ensure that agritourism operators qualify for protection against property tax assessments when operating on agricultural lands. We also simplified steps for Florida farmers to receive sales tax exemptions for agricultural materials. Thanks to Senator Simpson, the state has reestablished funding for the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program. So that was $300 million, which is a lot of money. We've also protected through the program 36,000 acres of farmland, which is a really big deal. And all total, the state has invested $2.8 billion into Florida's agriculture industry. in our budgets. So that's a lot. We've also done a lot of disaster relief. Some of the citrus in the aftermath of Irma, when I came into, was still happening. Of course, Ian and some of the other, Michael, these are major storms. These areas were hit very, very hard. So we've done that, and we're proud to be able to do that. And we're here today to sign a bill that continues our commitment to having a vibrant agriculture industry. This is a little bit different in terms of the threat that we're talking about here. I mean, you know, we've dealt with things like citrus greening with our citrus. Of course, when you have some of the storms, you know, that can wreak havoc on various types of crops. So there's all kinds of things that happen. Those are, though, natural disasters. Those are acts of God. What we're protecting here is the industry against acts of man, against an ideological agenda that wants to finger agriculture as the problem, that views things like raising cattle as destroying our climate. These will be people who will lecture the rest of us about things like global warming. They will say that, you know, you can't drive a internal combustion engine vehicle. They'll say that agriculture is bad. Meanwhile, they're flying to Davos in their private jets, and they're living like they would ever want to live. So this is really a vision of imposing restrictions on freedoms for everyday people, while these elites are effectively pulling the strings, calling the shots, and doing whatever the hell they want to do in their own lives. And we've said in Florida, these folks at like the World Economic Forum in Davos that they meet and they scheme, those policies are dead on arrival in the state of Florida. And we fought it in a number of different ways. We have fought it through standing up against things like central bank digital currency, where they want to be able to control your money. We fought against it by banning the Chinese Communist Party from purchasing land in the state of Florida. We have fought it by putting an end to woke banks denying or canceling financial services for Florida, just based on their political opinions. And we've also protected Floridians from government tracking of credit card transactions related to the purchase of firearms and ammunition. I think what they're looking to do is create a social credit system. That's what they have in China. And so your ability to participate in the economy, access credit, will be circumscribed by your ideological positions and your political positions. And so if you believe in Second Amendment, if you believe in agriculture, you believe that, you will be marked down. So that's ultimately the vision. Now, that is not a vision that has taken hold in Florida. And honestly, even in a lot of these other states, it's still got a long way to go. But we see the threat for what it is. So why are we talking about that here in Hardee County? Why do we have all these cattlemen here for the bill that we're going to sign today? Because one of the things that these folks want to do is they want to eliminate meat production in the United States, or actually throughout the world. They view agriculture they don't view their private jets as a problem with global warming, but they do think that folks who are cattle ranchers are doing just things that really, before we were even a state, this stuff was going on in Florida, and we would not have even become the state we were if we didn't have agriculture, particularly over the last 150 years. So, but this is the view. So what do they want to do? Well, they want to basically eliminate meat. They want to eliminate cattle. They want to eliminate chickens, all this stuff. And they want to create protein in laboratories. So it's essentially lab-created meat. And their goal is to get to a point where you will not be raising cattle, where you will not be developing meat like we've been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years in the state of Florida. And so it's not just a question of, oh, well, they want to put this out there on the market. If some people like it, they can do it. That's not really what they're going for, because they know if that was put out there to compete with normal beef, that they would lose. So what they want to do is put that out there and then say, well, wait a minute, you can do this in a lab. You don't need to do the cattle. You don't need to do all this. So why don't you just phase that out? That's ultimately the goal. Now, they're not at the point where they're going to be able to execute that today, But I think part of being good stewards of these industries, of the state, of the public well-being, is to think forward and head off threats before they even come. So I recognize the threats that we're seeing from some of these elites throughout the world in places like Davos. I understand that they've put a target on the back of agriculture as being somehow driving all these problems. And in the state of Florida, we've put down the marker very clearly. We stand with agriculture. We stand with the cattle ranchers. We stand with our farmers because we understand it's important for the backbone of the state. It's important for our culture. It's important for our heritage. So the bill that I'm going to sign today is going to say, basically, take your fake lab-grown meat elsewhere. We're not doing that in the state of Florida. And this group, the World Economic Forum, they've not only told you that the consumption of meat is, quote, the source of greenhouse gas and climate change. Obviously, they've said that. They also want you to believe that consuming insects is a, quote, overlooked source of protein and a way to battle climate change. Now, I'm sure they'll say, hey, wait a minute. Just hear us out before you say yuck, and to that I say Florida has heard enough on that. So I'm excited about being here to be able to fight back. I think it's really important that we stand by our agriculture industry. I think it's important that we stand by our cattle ranchers, and that's what we're doing here today. So I commend the legislature for being forward-thinking on this. This is not just being done willy-nilly. They want to do this stuff in the lab to be able to wipe the people sitting here today out of business. We will not let that happen in the great state of Florida. All right, well, we're going to hear from some folks, so we'll start with our Commissioner of Agriculture, Wilton Simpson.
Talking about a tough act to follow, and thank you, Governor, for being here, and you hit all the high chords. And, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't remind everyone here that, you know, home to Wauchula, Florida, has been Albritton. It's going to be the next Senate president. That's going to be a real treat for the state the next couple of years with his leadership. I also want to thank Jay Collins, is here today. Senator Collins is a champion for agriculture in the Senate. Danny Alvarez could not be here today, but he is a champion in the House, and these boys get it done, and we're here today because of their efforts and because of the governor's leadership. You know, everyone here knows that food security is our national security. Without food, you know, they don't always rise to the height of national security, but think about if there was just no groceries just for 1 week in the grocery store, just 1 week. You'd have total chaos in this country, and if that's not national security, I don't know what it is. Our job every day as a department, we get up every day thinking, how can we have the most safe, affordable, abundant food anywhere in the world? And Florida's going to do its share of the growing of that product. We work hard every day to give our farmers the tools they need to accomplish these things. And I'm going to talk about some of the things in the last 4 or 5 years that we've done in the legislature and with this governor's leadership helping us. The last few years, we have enhanced our Fresh from Florida products. So Fresh from Florida, if you go back a year ago, we had about 300,000 social media followers. Today we have over 925,000 in just 1 year. And we're working hard every day to enhance that funding and advertising so that our Florida farmers will get recognized for the products they're growing and get paid for it when people get to the grocery stores. We have banned our foreign enemies from buying agricultural land in the state of Florida in the last couple of years. We've eliminated a county or a city from being able to put a special tax on your farmers. That was an important bill. It was very important. We've enhanced the right to farm bill the governor mentioned earlier by if a farmer is in a lawsuit today, when the farmer wins a lawsuit, his opponent has to pay their legal bills. So that's pretty well squelched some lawsuits from our farmers. We established agritourism. We have fought ESG and farming. ESG is one of those existential threats that could take farming out over time. We've had some major successes in the last few months where several of the larger banks have pulled out of that global ESG initiative. And after Hurricane Idalia, and y'all have seen the action that this governor has taken after hurricanes and the work ethic and the brilliance that has happened after hurricanes today. It's a tragedy when we have them, but your state response has been no better than when we've had this governor in command of those operations. You've seen it from the bridges that were fixed within weeks after Ian. When Idalia hit, we have a first ever in this state program of a grant program and loan program to help those farmers in that area recover, and we're very, very proud of that accomplishment. The wildlife corridor, I'll mention, we fought very hard several years ago getting that enshrined in state law. The wildlife corridor, if you want to know what that is, simple definition, Google a map when you get home today at nighttime in the state of Florida. You're going to see all the beautiful lights of the state. Where you live, you'll see those lights. Everywhere it's dark on that map is where your aquifer gets recharged, it's where animals traverse the state, and it's where we grow your food. And so it ties in very nicely with our rural and family lands program the governor mentioned earlier. We are working very hard. We have now surpassed 100,000 acres in that program. And with the generosity of the legislature and the governor, we're going to continue that program very robustly this year. Our major threat going forward in Florida is not having the ability to protect our aquifer and water, where we grow your food, and animals being able to source the state. It's one of the biggest priorities we have. This bill today that the governor is going to sign, and thank you, Governor, this is going to enhance several areas. The governor talked about the banning of synthetic meat. Who wants to have a biomass shipped to their house, put it in a tank, grown in a lab, and then put it through a 3D printer to make it look like a steak that you want to eat? Well, we're not going to do that in Florida, right? We're not going to participate. Hey, and let me even go one step further. How bad this is for our Californians that are participating in this crap is that Italy's even banned this. Italy. So think about that for a second. Let that soak in. Second of all, in this bill, it enhances criminal penalties for anyone that would come onto a farm and any type of criminal activity on that farm. This is enhanced penalties. So if you're listening, do not go steal from your farmers. You will be put in jail. And the last thing we're very proud that I really want to emphasize on this is our children. We are pushing our children to join 4-H programs, FFA programs, and we need that. We need that next generation. This bill says to the school systems and the school boards around the state that if those children are participating in an activity related to FFA or 4-H, they will have excused absences from the school system. That is a very important part of this. And again, I want to thank the cattlemen for being here today, all the farming communities. It's great to be in Hardee County. And the governor, thank you for your leadership on these issues. Thank you.
Good morning. It's a pretty cool deal for a country boy. As the governor said earlier, I'm Dale Carlton, president-elect of the Florida Cattlemen Association, and I'd like to welcome everyone to Wauchula, the heart of Hardee County and one of the top cattle ranching counties in the state. I'm 7th generation Floridian and 6th generation rancher, and it's a complete family affair for us. We are blessed to have the 7th generation heavily involved in our operation that is scattered throughout 3 adjoining counties, Hardee County, DeSoto County, and Highlands County. We have a love and passion for our land, our livestock, and God's creation that we're blessed to be stewards of. The cattle industry goes back to 1521. That's over 500 years of cattle in our great state. As a result of the fine work of Governor DeSantis, Commissioner Wilton Simpson, we look forward to moving forward and preserving the industry and the way of life for another 500 years. Thank you all again.
Thank you. Yeah.
All ranchers, and certainly our family, take your work as public officials very serious. My great-grandfather, Dole Carlton Sr., was Florida's governor from 1929 to 1933 during the Great Depression, and my granddad served as a state senator in the 50s and 60s. We understand the commitment and sacrifices you in office have made and understand the responsibility that comes with it. It's very similar to our responsibility of taking care of our environment, the wildlife, the water, the woods, the air, and the livestock that we all oversee. We thank you for passing strong legislation that protects this industry and the citizens of our great state. Thank you for coming to Wauchula. And now I'll ask our Florida Cattlemen Association President, Pat Durden, to offer a few comments about the bill being signed into law today by the governor.
Wow, what a great day to be in Hardee County. It's the heartbeat of the Florida cattle industry. It's certainly my honor to be here with Governor DeSantis, Commissioner of Agriculture Wilton Simpson, and Senator Jay Collins. I'd also like to mention my friend, Representative Danny Alvarez. He couldn't be here with us today, but he was certainly a big part of the leadership that brought this to where it is here today. Without their leadership and support of our industry, the passage of Ag Bill 1084 would not have been possible. The governor signing this bill cements his commitment to protecting Florida's cattle industry and the safety of all consumers of the state of Florida. Sorry. It's a little bit much coming in here behind the governor and the commissioner, and it's a pretty important deal for us, so bear with me for a second. It also will give Commissioner Simpson and his Department of Agriculture the necessary tools to continue to protect Florida's consumers and our vital production agriculture industry. This bill covers a wide array of topics, but I think the two that are most important to myself and my fellow members of the Florida Cattlemen's Association are the prohibition of, let's just call it like the governor said, fake meat, banning fake meat, and one that's really hits me in the heart, and I know that this was an important part for Senator Collins, is the ability for our youth to participate in 4-H and FFA and not be penalized for it. We should be encouraging our youth to develop and educate themselves outside the classroom and develop their leadership skills. They will be the future leaders of our state. We currently have a population of over 22 million people and an estimated 1,200 additional people moving to Florida every day. It's never been more important than today to protect Florida's farmers and ranchers, and that's what this legislation does. So on behalf of the Florida Cattlemen's Association, Governor, thank you for signing this legislation into law today. And remember, cows keep Florida green. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So one lady amongst many gents here. I'm feeling a little bit special up here amongst all the cowboys and everything, but I'm going to give you a little bit of glimpse into what the $6 million check is going to be. But I want to first thank the governor for coming here and signing this bill in Hardee County, because we do have so many generations of cattle ranchers here, and it means so much to our community that you came here to sign this particular bill, so thank you very much for that. So I just want to start with this grant award, the $6 million check that the governor has brought to us this morning. The Florida Growth Grant Fund is an economic development program designed to promote public infrastructure and workforce training across the state. Proposals are reviewed by the Florida Commerce and chosen by the governor to meet the demand for the workforce or infrastructure needs in the community they are awarded. The Hardee County Industrial Development Authority submitted an application to the Department of Commerce for $6 million, and as you heard just a minute ago, the governor did fund the full request. So thank you very much for that. The Hardee County Industrial Development Authority will manage, the development group will build a 40,000 square foot building in the Hardee County Business Park. The Hardee County Business Park is a 264 acre land, and it includes anchor tenants such as Floorcam, Mock Connections, and Stream to Sea, which everyone is familiar with. The second phase of the Hardee County Business Park was funded by the Florida Jobs Growth Grant in 2018. The manufacturing facility will house Safe Gauge America Manufacturing Incorporated, a medical glove manufacturing operation. This grant will allow the recruitment of Safe Gauge initially and supplement other efforts to expand the park and become more manufacturing hub for Hardee County. The owners of Safe Gauge are here today, so seek them out. Thank them for being here. I see him raising his hand back there. Please seek them out and thank them for being here and for bringing this to our community. This is going to create 184 jobs in the county, And they are also bringing $10 to $16 million in private investment to this development. So please give a warm thank you to them. And Governor DeSantis, thank you again for everything.
How are y'all doing today? It's good to be here today. My name is Jay Collins. I'm the senator from Senate District 14, which is Hillsborough County. First off, Governor, thank you for being here. Commissioner, thank you. I wish Rep. Alvarez could be here. He's my paisano, my guy. We do a lot together. But I want to thank my wife, Layla. Thank you for making the trek over here. I appreciate you joining me. So I'm blessed to be a senator. Before that, I was blessed to be a Green Beret and serve our nation. But I'll bet you many of you didn't know that before that, I'm a farmer's kid. I grew up on a farm and ranch, 3,000 acres, and our family struggled coming out of the 80s. It turns out that Democratic policies weren't good then either. The math didn't work, and our family ended up losing our farm. I watched that change everything about my family. I would have been the third generation on our family farm. None of the things I've experienced in life would have happened, but I'd be there feeding our nation. Here's what I don't want to have happen. I can't stand idly by and watch that happen to other people in our great state of Florida, and it's amazing to have leadership from Governor DeSantis, Commissioner Simpson, and so many others fighting tooth and nail for our agriculture. Amen. You know, our FFA, Commissioner, thank you for calling them out. It's a big deal. Why don't y'all stand up? Let's give them a round of applause. Here's why it's such a big deal. The average farmer is 58 years old in the state of Florida. Now, how many of you like to eat? I'm kind of tied to it, right? It's a big deal to me. I want my kids to eat. Y'all are the future. If we lose farming, we lose the ability to feed ourselves. If you eat food, you're part of agriculture. And as the commissioner said, food security is unequivocally national security. If we don't control our food supply, who does? They control us. So what, I'll tell you more than anything else, I told you I was a farmer's kid, but right now, I'm a husband and father, and I will not allow this state to fail and not have food on the table for our kids. So this is a big step towards that. We got to do everything we can to stabilize, revitalize, and grow agriculture. You heard the commissioner and the governor talk a little bit about the things we've done. Y'all, there is no magic button to fix what's going on. Our agricultural community is disproportionately affected by things like NAFTA because of how many commodity lines we have. There are hard-working Americans every single day working dusk till dawn to feed our state and feed this nation. We cannot let agriculture fail in the state of Florida. So how do we do that? Well, it's a big step. Our DAX package, the commissioner and the governor talked about many of the things that are in there, and I'm not going to pontificate about all of them. I tell you to get under the hood and check and see what all we put in there. But what I do want to stand for, what I want to talk about is this. In Florida, we stand for freedom. We stand for American values, and they are American values. What we push, what many represent as conservative values, y'all, that's what we grew up in. It's what made this nation what it is. But you know what we're not going to stand for? Elites in a country far away, in a city far away, telling us what to eat. Because in the state of Florida, we don't stand for lab-grown meat. So here's what I can promise you. We're going to continue to fight tooth and nail each and every day for agriculture to make this economic model work. We want Florida's farmers to continue to thrive each and every day. Because in Florida, beef, it's what's for dinner. Thank you. God bless.
Well, we appreciate everyone that's been involved in this, and look, it should be repeated that, you know, what they're trying to do with creating meat in a lab, it's not just offering consumers something else. You know, you have, and this bill doesn't affect some of the stuff they have out there, Impossible Burger, all this. You know, it's interesting. The Impossible Burger is made with all this other stuff, and it's less healthy than the actual beef itself. So I don't understand the point, and it doesn't taste as good, but whatever floats your boat. People do that, these plant burgers, all that stuff, fine. But what they're doing with the lab grown is what they want to say is this is the same as raising cattle and doing it naturally, then there's no reason that you have this industry. So it is designed to represent a threat to agriculture as we know it. It is not just about having a product on the market. That's the first step, but they want much more than that. And I think we're snuffing this out at the beginning. You know, there have been other countries, as Wilton mentioned, that have said no. I think there's going to be more states that are increasingly going to say no. And I think we'll be able to head this off because it does come with an agenda. This is not just happening out of thin air. The other thing I just point out is, like, you know, I think people, obviously, if you're from this part of the state, you get it. A lot of Floridians get it, but I talked to a lot of people that are not from Florida, and it's like some people think Florida is theme parks, South Beach, and maybe some oranges, but they don't really understand that you know, we have one of the top cattle industries in the country. We were just out near Jay a couple months ago. Massive strawberry harvest, top winter strawberry harvest, this big strawberry festival. We have so many crops that we produce in Florida that it's really something that is core to our state's identity. And yes, people do know about the citrus, but there's all kinds of other things that are really important and help the state tick, and the cattle ranchers are a big part of that. So I think this bill is going to be helpful in that regard, and I think overall with the young people, all these other stuff, it's really a good day for agriculture in Florida. So anyone that's going to participate in the bill signing, we're going to come up and make it official. Kids, you want to come up? All right. Today is the 1st of May. All right, who wants one? All right. Okay. Anyone else?
I'll take one.
Okay. Thank you. Where else? All right. There we go. Okay. We got it done. Good job, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming. Great to see you. Thank you. Good luck with everything. Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. Welcome. Anytime you want to come to Hardee County, we'd love you
We're
to
happy
be
to
here.
be here. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Of course. Well, we're happy to be able to get that in the books, and I think that that'll be meaningful for a lot of people throughout the state of Florida. I'm just going to address a couple other things while I'm here. You know, one, with regard to what's going on in college campuses. The state of Florida is not New York. And so when you go out and try to commandeer property, when you try to set up encampments, you are not going to be allowed to do that in this state. And people have found that out at University of South Florida, Florida State. So just understand that that's the way it's going to go. We do not allow the inmates to run the asylum in the state of Florida. And if you can't abide by the rules that we have in place for conduct, then we will show you the door and you will be expelled. It is that simple. That's what we're going to do. The second thing is there was a report out that Joe Biden is contemplating importing a bunch of Palestinian Arabs from the Gaza Strip into the United States of America. And I didn't even think Biden was crazy enough to do this. That is not in this country's interest. what we've seen over there, and we've seen the reflections in our own society of people out protesting in favor of Hamas terrorists. I mean, these are people that cooked babies in ovens while they were raping the babies' mothers, executing elderly people. We forget about what happened that day on October 7th, but that's what we're dealing with here. And to take people from that part of the world and import those blood feuds to this country, that is not in your interest or your family's interest. We should not be importing people in from the Gaza Strip. And so I hope that that report is wrong. I think if he does that, it is not going to be something that benefits the United States of America. If anything, it'll just exacerbate a lot of the problems that we're seeing now. And, look, people can say what they want. I mean, it is a free country. But I also think about, okay, what does it say about our society that people would go out and demonstrate and take Hamas's side in this? That's a sickness that we see on these college campuses, but we also see the sickness in some of these other institutions in our society. And so I think part of what we need to do to unify the country going forward is to have people that actually want to assimilate into America, that actually believe in our founding principles, not people that just want to replicate a lot of these blood feuds that we see in other parts of the world. So our view in Florida on bringing in people from Gaza is no, we do not want to do that here in the state of Florida. All right, anyone have any questions back there? Well, look, I think when you're in these primaries, they have a dynamic. I think now we're in a position where we are unified across issues as Republicans. I think if you look at what's going on in the state of Florida, we have unprecedented success that we've had in this state. We do have some threats to that success on some of the things that will be on the ballot, and those will be things on these constitutional amendments that we're going to be working very hard to make sure that that people know what exactly is doing it. Because people don't spend tens of millions of dollars to get something on the ballot unless they're going to make money off it. There's a lot of people out there that want to make money off a variety of these things. That is not in the best interest of the people of the state of Florida. So we'll be able to hash all that out, and we'll be able to, I think, be successful across the board come November of 2024. All right, thank you. God bless.
Well, that turned out well.